This is Rap the News. And I just had a dream about an end time event that is taking place right now. Kind of like a heads up dream. But before I get into that, I want to tell you a series of dreams that I had that I have documented pretty much on YouTube as I have these dreams. So the first dreams, and I'm trying to keep it short, I was walking with an angel. I didn't know it was an angel at first. I was just walking with this person that seemed like a friend, but I didn't know who the hell it was. And they was walking on the right side of me, I believe. And we were walking and having a casual conversation. And next thing you know, I start noticing people. Because I didn't know what this place was that I was in. Neither did I know where I was at. Neither did I know the person talking to me. And I was like, that person looks familiar. And then I started noticing other people that looked familiar. Then I saw somebody I knew definitely was dead. I said, wait a minute. That person is dead. And if that person is dead, I looked over and I realized that that person that I was talking to was an angel the whole time. I said, am I dead? And they said, no. And I said, okay, what's going on here? These people are dead. And he said, yeah. And he said, we're here to offer you a place in heaven right now. And at that time, I was still doing some sin. And I couldn't understand it. He was like, if you would just let go of this life right now, he said, how do you feel about this place? I said, this place is serene and it's very peaceful. He said, we'll give you this place right now if you let go of your life. And I was super tempted. I was like, wow. He said, it is peaceful, ain't it? And I said, it's very peaceful. And he said, well, if you let go of your life, we'll give you this place. And then I told him, I said, no. Because I thought about my family, my children. I said, I have to go make sure my children and my family is okay before I die. And they said, okay, back to your body. And they sent me back to my body. Okay. Second dream is I was taken by two angels. They came and got me. And the angels lifted me up. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? Again, am I dead? No. What's going on? We're taking you to see God. God wants to see you. I was like, oh my God. God wants to see me. Yes. And so they flew me up to a very, very, very high place. And then in this place with some serene light, everything was green like you couldn't even imagine it. It was not only green, but it was hedged up. I mean, I'm talking about it was perfectly hedged up. It wasn't like, okay, it's heaven, so it's just growing wild. No. It was in order, it was hedged up, and it was like green. And there was like an awning, like a circle of trees where you walk through like a pathway. And the angels stopped on the pathway, and one went to the right and one went to the left. And then there was an opening in the gate of trees. And like a bush. And I said, well, are you guys going? And they said, no. We can't pass beyond this barrier, but you can. I'm like, okay, what is that all about? So I went through the barrier and it was telling me God was to the right. So walk down this corridor, whatever this barrier was, and then turn right and you'll see your Lord. So I walked down the corridor a little ways, seemed like about 30 to 50 feet. And then I made a right turn and I began to see the throne of God. And I never fell down on my face so fucking fast. I mean, it was like without hesitation or nothing, I was down on my face on the ground, planted. And then I woke up. It's like God never said anything. I never saw God, right? And so the next one was, I was with, it almost seemed to be like prophets and these people of high, prestige in the kingdom, like, if that's the correct word, high position in God's kingdom. and we was at a table, and only so many people could be at this table. Probably about 9 to 12 people at this table. It was a long oval type table, and we were standing around the table in an order to our goodness. Like however good or you were or blessed you were in the world, that was the order that you was in. I was third from the last. I remember that. So I wasn't the last, but I was third from the last. And then the person at the head of the table was the most honored and dignified person, you know. And I can't remember what they were talking about, but I was so honored to be there with them, you know. And then the next one was, I was in this location, and the prophet, a prophet, came out of the ground. And you can watch my videos, and these are in there somewhere. The prophet came out of the ground. He was wrapped up in a white blanket, you know, and he had his holy book with him. Big, huge holy book. And the blanket came off of him, and he was dead. He came out of the ground. And he walked past me, but he had left his things. He left his blanket, and he left his holy book. And I went and grabbed the holy book, and then something was saying that the prophet would meet you at your house. So when I went to my house, the prophet was already there in kind of like a dim room where I couldn't see his face. And he was facing, waiting for me to come to him. And I had his holy book that I was going to give him. And then I woke up out of that dream. And then tonight, I just had a dream that it was like no more than 5 to 7 people on some strange, I don't know if they was horses, camels. I can't tell you what the animal was that we were riding, but I know we were riding in on some animals in the desert. So I'm pretty sure 100% without a shadow of a doubt it was Jerusalem. And we were coming straight to this cave, and it was some other people that was coming at an angle to this cave. In the dream, we were the people. We were the original people of Adam, and we were heading to this cave. It was about 5 to 7 of us, you know, and we were riding swiftly to this cave. And we knew the others were coming, and they wasn't us, but they thought that they were us. Anyway, we get inside the cave, and only a couple of us go in this cave. And inside the cave, it lit up a little bit, just enough for you to see. And it was this piece of skull in the cave, like a bones of our ancestors. And it was the top part of the head, the exact top part of the head towards the middle of the head, which is pretty much the motory sensory movement and things like that part of the brain. And we was trying to figure it all out. Where were we? What was this cave? Why was our ancestors in this cave? And I believe the skull could either belong to King David or Adam, you know. And we was expecting something to come out of the skull, like hair or anything else to come out of this part of the brain or the skull. And it lit up the skull, and you could tell that something was getting ready to grow. And we said, okay, we're done here, you know, this is what was supposed to happen. So it has begun, you know. And I believe what has begun is the dead is getting ready to rise. And so we walked out of the cave, and now we on the outside of the cave. The others had came on these weird type, I don't know if they horse, camel, big huge beasts. They had came in on these. And these things are tall, like about 7 foot tall, something like that, you know. And they would say, so did you guys go to the cave? Because they knew more about the cave than us, you know. And we were like, it's a possibility. We went in the cave. They said, did you guys find the skull? It's a possibility that we might have seen something, you know. And so, did you guys get the skull? It's a possibility. And then they was done because we had got to it first. I don't know what the significance of that is, but I woke up, right? So I said, let me look up this cave in Israel where our forefathers are died, and I believe they call it the cave of the patriarchs or something like that. Patriarchs. It's the tomb of Abraham, right? That's where we were, but nobody really in modern day have been inside there, but we was in there. And so basically the skull was one of the skulls of the prophet. It could be of Adam, or it could be of Abraham, or it could be of King David. I don't know whose part of the skull it was, and it was the motor sensory, and where touch, smell, and movement is on the top of the head. And so anyway, and it was coming to life, meaning that the dead is finna move. So I realized that cave that I was at in my dream, Adam, when he got dispelled out of the garden, would go to this place in Hebron, right? Yeah, they would go to Hebron, which is now in Palestine, right? And the fake Israel, between Israel, the fake Israel, and in Palestine. So it's guarded by Muslims, right? And so this is the tombs of the prophet, and what's inside these tombs is all the prophets. It's Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, all of the king, David. All of them is inside of these tombs are prophets, right? And they are buried in chronological order, like lined up, like in the order that they died. But not only that, their wives are beside them, like certain wives that they had. The cherished wives are the ones that God wanted to be by their side at death. They was by their side in death. All the way from Adam, which would go to this place because he said that this place in Hebron, the tomb of Abraham, which they call it today, was the entrance to somewhere in this cave. I don't know if it's some kind of vortex or some kind of what do you call that hole that opened up? Y'all know what I'm talking about. And not wormhole, but for some reason I know what it is, but my brain ain't saying it right now because that's the devil. But yeah, it was a kind of like a way in, to heaven. And so that's where Adam would go. And I think King Herod ended up building a building over it, and it's in Palestine today, and that's where they go. Jews, Muslims, and Christians go to see the tomb they call Abraham, which is the tomb of the prophets. So the dream is signifying, people, that the prophets are getting ready to come out of their grave, and it is time. This is Rap the News.